To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine.
While the third text says, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck, oh, freaky, and choke me with it while you're, what other word can I use for this? Making love to me. Use your imagination. I ain't getting demonetized for y'all.
Love me or hate me, God knows you made it. When he let his eyes on me.
Why would Shannon Sharpe put himself in this position? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rogan. This is This Baby Gal. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. So I know you guys have been hearing all of the news regarding Shannon Sharpe. For those of you who don't know anything about this, like y'all don't even tune into this kind of news, let me just give you a brief recap. Shannon Sharpe, who's 54 years old, is being sued by a 20-year-old OnlyFans model. It was his girlfriend, you want to call it that, his lover, his whatever you want to call her. You know, he's being sued by her for sexual assault and abuse. She is alleging that Shannon Sharpe arred her and threatened to choke her. So according to court documents, Zuniga says that Shannon used his money, his fame, his power to abuse her and cross some very serious lines. Now, Shannon says, look, this ain't nothing but a shakedown. And on top of it, she got this guy, Tony Busby, this lawyer, who is notorious for chasing after black wealthy men and trying to getting some money from them, just trying to ruin them reputationally and hoping that they just cop to a quick settlement like they did with Jay-Z. That's your brief recap. So I had a few of you reach out to me to ask me, they're like, you're not gonna comment on your boy? I know you love Shannon Sharpe. I do. But a few of you asked me about this, and I want to play one audio from one of my longtime viewers, very faithful viewers. So I'm just gonna play it and then I'm gonna get into my comments. Oh, by the way, you guys can leave voicemails for the channel on my blog, thisbehavinggal.com. If you ever want to just like get in touch that kind of way and be a part of the show, definitely go and leave a voicemail. So let me just play this.
Okay, you know me. I'm Paul DeCoster. I leave messages on your thing all the time. I'm at a subway station, that's why you're hearing all of this noise. Anyway, I just recently caught wind of the fact that Shannon Sharpe is in some deep for something. Supposedly it's sexual assault. I don't know if it's true. I know we've joked about you wanting to marry him and all that, but this is actually kind of serious because I've actually seen the Club Shay Shay podcast. He's got some great interviews with a lot of different people. Oh, sorry. So just wondering what your thoughts are on that. Okay, it's concerning to me.
So I want to address a few things. First of all, I am a Shannon Sharpe fan. I'm a huge Shannon Sharpe fan. I wasn't a fan of Shannon Sharpe's when he was playing football. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything about him. I think the first time I'd ever heard his name even mentioned was in a comedy bit by Cheryl Underwood, because I could think she had like a big crush on him back in the day. But I didn't know who Shannon Sharpe was until one day when I saw him with Skip Bayless on Undisputed. And I was like, oh, who's this guy? Because I don't know. I like his country accent. I like his swag. I like how he's funny. I like that he gets, you know, rambunctious at times. I love those qualities about him, but I don't know him personally. And I'm not privy to his proclivities. As far as me saying, you know, that's my husband, I say everybody's my husband. Even Don Lemon, if he's making a point and I agree with Don Lemon, I'm like, oh, I'll say Mrs. Lemon. Okay, so that's just my sense of humor. If he did sexually assault this woman, though, he deserves everything that's going to come to him, okay? Because I take abuse very seriously. I don't play when it comes to abuse at all. Physical, emotional, mental, none of that stuff. I don't play with that. And sexually assaulting someone is very serious. I don't play with that. But he is accused. There is no victim in this. There's an accused and an accuser. That's the way it is until the facts come out. Because a lot of times things happen and they come in the news cycle and we immediately condemn someone. I'm not condemning her and I'm not condemning him. They're both, one is an accused and one is an accuser. So deal with that. These kinds of stories are so nuanced that I just don't understand how people can just automatically say, oh, I side with Shannon Sharpe, or I stand with Shannon Sharpe, or I stand with the woman. I can't stand with anybody. I don't know anything about this. I only know what's being released in little snippets in the media. One of the things that I keep hearing is that how badly could she have been abused if she kept going back to him? This is just a shakedown. And that's what Shannon Sharpe and his legal team have said, that this is just a shakedown, right? And people say, well, if she were truly abused, then why'd she go back? I mean, that question is just like the silliest question to me. We have seen so much evidence, not just in celebrity world, but in regular world, of people being abused in their relationships and going back. As we're talking about celebrities, do we feel that way about Tina Turner, the late great Tina Turner, rest her soul? She was abused by her husband, her late husband, Ike Turner, and she kept going back and staying with him until she finally got the strength that she just left completely. I also think back on like when Rihanna was abused by Chris Brown, and I watched that in real time. I remember seeing all the images of her being abused, and then the news cycle exploded, the tabloids exploded, everybody was talking about it. And then days later, she was in Florida on jet skis with this guy. So I'm mentioning that because people always are so quick to say, oh, if that person were truly abused, they wouldn't have gone back. Some of you who are watching this right now are in abusive relationships. You've gone back time and time again. Some of you who are watching this were in abusive relationships, and you know how long it took you to get out. So I wish people would just kind of say, this is why I hate just like when things pop in news, I don't just be quick to respond to it. And I already had plans to talk about it, but when people started reaching out like, hey, I know Shannon is your boy, you're not going to say anything, I was like, yep, but I just wanted to see what the deal was first. I don't want to just be jumping up and saying something and then 2 weeks later be like, oh, now that I have this information, that wasn't such a great take. You can talk about stuff, but I have the luxury. I'm not in news. I have the luxury of taking my time and really developing my thoughts rather than just jumping up when something pops just to get hits or views. And a lot of the people who are online bad mouthing Gabriella Zuniga for going back to Shannon Sharpe are the very same people who praised Cassie Ventura for actually leaving P. Diddy. But what they're not mentioning is the fact that she went back for many years, even though she was abused. People don't understand like domestic violence and that sort of abuse, especially when there is a stark difference in the power dynamic. In Gabriella's case, she's 20, Shannon Sharpe is 54. Now, I'm not telling you ain't no slick 20-year-olds out there. Ain't no smart 20-year-olds out there. They are, but that experience, that carries a lot of weight. That age carries a lot of weight. And not only that, there's not just the age dynamic, there's not just the May-December romance, but the fact that he is substantially bigger than her, and he has a bigger platform than she does, and he has more wealth than she does, and he has more power than she does. He has more access to other things than she does. So all those things create like a perfect storm. And I think it needs to carry a lot of weight in people's minds because that's a big, big difference, which is why for me, I don't understand how he can be so foolish. You know, far be it from me to judge a man wanting to be with a younger woman. I don't care what you do in that regard. But I think when you are the partner who has a lot to lose, and in this case, he had the most to lose, he should have been more careful. You can't be running around with certain women. When you're at a successful level and at the level that he is, where he's on the brink of signing a $100 million deal. How many of y'all, I've never seen $100 million in my life. Okay. And I couldn't imagine being on the precipice of that, even though this incident or these series of incidents happened before he even, was set to sign this deal. Still, you have to know that your career is doing this. It's about to skyrocket. And so you just can't hang out with the same people you used to hang out with. You can't date the same people who you used to date. This is why a lot of men, you always hear people talking about high value men and high value women. A lot of them have to stay within like their own circle because they have to be with someone who has as much to lose as they do. When you make the foolish mistake of getting with someone who has nothing to lose, they don't care, their reputation isn't yours, and you have everything to lose, and they don't get what they want. And I'm not saying it in this instance, but I'm just saying, and they don't get what they want, they could really reputationally destroy you. Sometimes a lot of people will hide in the woodwork, waiting for your star to rise sufficiently just so they can try to tear you down. Reading the text messages, this thing seems very transactional. It seems like sugar daddy, sugar baby situation. This doesn't seem like a legit relationship. And a lot of times these fellas, they don't want to be with anybody who's their age or close to their age or anything like that because they don't want to be held accountable. They want to be in control. They want the woman to submit or the man, depending on who it is, to submit. They want them to be in that submissive position. You do what I tell you to do. It's a control thing for a lot of people. Shannon Sharpe were going with a woman who was in her 50s, who was equally successful and had some fame to her name. He couldn't talk to her like that. If she had healthy self-esteem and she had her life together, she'd be like, bruh, excuse me, gone. But when you're young and impressionable, you ain't got nothing, and this fella come along and he has a big name. There's another thing that I want to talk about too with this situation is that I think a lot of people are so, and this is what I've observed, they're very jealous of Shannon Sharpe because I think he's always had success, from when his NFL days, of course, his TV commentator days, but especially when he started that podcast and he had Cat Williams on his show and he exploded like I've never seen before. I think that's when you had a lot of fans, like legitimate fans who had already known him for years come on board. But you also had a lot of people who were fair weather fans. They just wanted to take a front row seat to see what you up to. And when you are, flailing or when your career is in trouble, they also have that same front row seat, eating their popcorn, watching you fail. So you have a lot of jealous people too who are so happy that this has happened so that they can laugh and say, well, that's what he gets for being too arrogant, being money focused, being cocky, going with white women. And that too is annoying because it's like there's like a history of men black men that is, who've been, hurt by black women as well. Think about like, and this is a different situation, but like Mike Tyson and Robin Givens, that was his wife, and she accused him of beating her, abusing her. And I remember people saying things like, oh, look at her trying to bring a good black man down. Mike is like one of the best boxers. It's like, so you're just going to like what? Just ignore what this woman is saying? Again, just immediately taking sides like he couldn't have possibly done this. She's just trying to bring him down. So it doesn't matter. Women always get blamed. One of the things that really bothered me about this woman, Gabriella Zuniga, is that in these little text messages that we saw, she kept, I feel like she was just fetishizing um, Shannon Sharpe, like kept stressing, like, I want you to put that big black baby in me. And I'm just like, is this like, because I know they do their little role play because this is what Shannon said, like, listen, we engage in a lot of role play and things that I ain't judging nobody for their role play. I got no judgment there. Do your thing. So let's just get right into the text messages. And I'm going to have to be very careful because, child. So it's like 44 pages of texts that Shannon's legal team released. And the young lady says, I quote, now, this is what their team released. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just saying, because if she comes out with a lawyer and saying, I never wrote that stuff, I don't know. Anyway, but she says, I know you missed this big, juicy, I'll say butt. 25K for each cheek. She want 50 grand to clap them cakes. Okay. Another text says, I want to be abused, daddy. While the third text says, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck. Oh, freaky. And choke me with it while you're, what other word can I use for this? Making love to me. Use your imagination. I ain't getting demonetized for y'all. Another text says, you better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. Let me read that differently. You better crave it, because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. I just thought that was really weird. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have a little slave master slave fantasy thing going on. I would not be surprised. That black baby stuff. You know what? It's so funny because a lot of people have been referencing again the Club Shay Shay episode with Cat Williams, where Cat was talking about being fearful of white women. Take a listen.
My goal was to get this far in Hollywood and still have a virgin. And I never had. That was my only goal. I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go. See, come on, Cat.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not gonna act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that.
Anyway, this has been one very long video. You guys, please tell me what you think about this whole thing. Do you think Shannon Sharpe put himself in this position? He should have been smarter. Do you believe that? What do you believe? What are your thoughts? I don't have to lead you on this. This is very simple, very straightforward. What are your thoughts about the allegation? What do you think about Shannon's decision-making skills? Do you think he's going to rebound from it? I don't see him crashing out as much as like other people, probably because he has so much, going for him. Like the ESPN deal is cool, but like he has like his podcast is immensely popular. I'm gonna watch and see if it his popularity wanes or anything like that. But I don't think so. I think if people love him, they love him. If they don't love him, they'll still watch because they want to know what he's up to. That's how some people are. And then there are people who just hate his guts and they just don't support anything that he does. Anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Please go down below in the comments box, the comment section, and let me know what you think about this whole fiasco. Whatever it is that you think. If you agree with my take, drop it down below. If you disagree with my take, drop it down below. It's all feedback. And even better, you can go to my blog, thisbahamiangal.com, look for the send voice message box, and send me a voice message up to 90 seconds, I believe, and you can be potentially featured inside of my next video. I'd love to hear what you all have to say. Follow me on Instagram at thisbahamiangal, and of course, subscribe to this channel. Give this video a big thumbs up. I cannot stress that enough. If every one of you who watches my video liked it and just actually liked it, it would mean so much to me because it really helps YouTube understand that this is valuable content, that it's entertaining, it's something that you enjoyed, and that it's something that somebody else might enjoy. So once they see that, some of you don't like to comment, and I get it, but just go and hit that like button. That helps a great deal. And if you would like to support this channel, you can become a channel member. All the details are down below in the description box, or you can buy me a cup of coffee. The buy me a coffee link is down below as well. And I'll put the QR code on the screen. Anyway, guys, I am hungry, thirsty, and tired. Sorry, my voice is starting to trail off. So I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Mwah. Let's wish Shannon the best. I hope he's gonna be okay. And if he did do this stuff, then he deserves to pay for it. Because one thing I am never gonna do is be like knowing that someone was hurt and ignoring that because I like a celebrity. It'll never happen. Bye. Mwah.